The radical power of no. Why boundaries are your birthright. Have you ever wondered what your life would look like if you stopped saying yes to things that make you miserable? I've been thinking about this question constantly since my profound conversation with Stacey Dori. If you haven't encountered her groundbreaking work yet, Stacey has single-handedly revolutionized how we think about rest and boundaries, particularly for Black women professionals. Her research has transformed boardrooms, sparked movements, and quite literally saved lives. The depth of her wisdom left me speechless at times, and trust me, that doesn't happen often. 3 seconds. That's how long most of us wait before responding to a request we don't want to fulfill, before we override our internal wisdom and say yes anyway. 3 seconds between honoring ourselves and abandoning ourselves. 3 seconds between peace and chaos. Isn't it fascinating how quickly we betray ourselves? How effortlessly we sacrifice our well being on the altar of other people's expectations? The most powerful word in the English language isn't love or hope or even yes, it's no. And for many of us, particularly Black women navigating professional spaces, it's the word we've been taught never to use, the forbidden fruit of vocabulary, the verbal boundary we dare not cross. When I spoke with Stacey about this phenomenon, she shared something that stopped me in my tracks. The most revolutionary act a Black woman can perform in today's society is to prioritize herself without explanation or apology. Without explanation, without apology. Let that sink in for a moment. Really let it marinate. In a world that expects us to be everything to everyone, saying no isn't just a boundary, it's a declaration of personhood. It's reclaiming ownership of your time, your energy, your very existence. Jennifer Randall understood this when she launched her mental wellness revolution. After years in corporate America where Black professionals felt invisible, Jennifer created something radical: space. Space to breathe, space to heal, space to exist without the exhausting labor of code switching. I was tired, she told her colleagues when she first proposed the initiative. Not just regular tired, soul tired. And I realized I wasn't alone. Jennifer's workshop started small, just a handful of Black women leaders gathering to discuss what it meant to heal while hustling. But something magical happened in those rooms. As these professionals shared their experiences of financial stress, emotional labor, and environments that didn't honor their full humanity, they discovered a collective power in their vulnerability. One participant described it as the first time I felt seen in my entirety at work. Not just her productivity, not just her contributions, her entirety. Jennifer's approach, creating culturally competent care and safe spaces where Black professionals could heal without judgment, has now been adopted by several Fortune 500 companies. But more importantly, it transformed how these organizations define leadership success. Self care is no longer a luxury, it's non negotiable alongside achievement. This is what happens when we honor our worth, when we recognize that our value isn't determined by others' expectations or validation, when we understand that self worth is the foundation for building a life filled with love, respect, and happiness. But here's the uncomfortable truth: setting boundaries feels terrible at first. We worry about disappointing others. We fear being labeled difficult. We dread the awkward conversations. And yet, on the other side of that discomfort lies freedom. Landis Harwell discovered this truth through her own burnout journey. As she climbed the corporate ladder, she embodied what society told her success should look like: constant availability, endless productivity, superhuman endurance. I thought exhaustion was a badge of honor, she admitted during one of her workshops. I wore my dark circles and missed the family events like medals of dedication until her body revolted. After a health scare that forced her to step away from work, Landis had a revelation. True freedom required radical boundary setting, even if it meant disappointing others' expectations. This insight became the foundation for her revolution of rest, a framework encouraging Black women professionals to reject burnout culture in favor of intentional rest. Her approach was beautifully simple. Scheduled downtime became sacred. Saying no was reframed as an act of courage. Authenticity replaced performative strength. The results were transformative. Thousands found liberation from chronic fatigue. Participants reported deeper joy at work and home. They experienced stronger financial empowerment through mindful decision making about which opportunities they pursued or declined. But perhaps most significantly, Landis's online platform grew into a national movement that influenced HR policies across multiple industries. Companies began implementing flexible schedules and wellness stipends for employees, prioritizing their health first. This is the ripple effect of one woman's boundaries. This is what happens when we recognize that setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an act of self care that creates space for growth, fulfillment, and authentic relationships, both personally and professionally. As Stacey Dori emphasized in our conversation, when you set a boundary, you're not just protecting yourself, you're modeling what healthy behavior looks like for everyone around you. Think about that. Your no doesn't just serve you, it serves as permission for others to honor their limits too. I see some of you shifting uncomfortably in your seats. I understand. We've been conditioned to believe that strength means endurance at all costs, that resilience requires constant sacrifice. Marination Tullos challenged this very myth among Black entrepreneurs. After witnessing peers burn out early despite outward success, she created new models rooted in compassion and authenticity, advocating for softness as strength. We've inherited generational narratives that equate excellence with superhuman endurance. Marination explained during one of her mentorship circles. We've been taught that vulnerability is weakness rather than wisdom or power. Her solution? Creating space where members practiced honest dialogue about struggles without shame and celebrated milestones achieved through resting and recharging rather than relentless hustle alone. The outcomes were remarkable. Members experienced fewer stress related illnesses and built sustainable careers aligned with their values, not just external achievements. Mary Nasha even published research demonstrating increased innovation among teams where psychological safety, permission to be soft, was prioritized over stoic performance. Her advocacy shifted industry perceptions so that soft skills like empathy are now considered essential leadership traits, not afterthoughts, for thriving organizations. This is what happens when we prioritize ourselves with compassion, not judgment. When we advocate for ourselves unapologetically, we spark change that uplifts entire communities by redefining what strength means in Black professional spaces. But how do we actually do this? How do we begin to set boundaries when we've spent years, decades even, saying yes to everything? We start small. Give yourself permission this week to say no to something or someone that drains your energy or doesn't align with your values. It might be declining that committee you don't have time for. It might be letting a call go to voicemail when you need rest. It might be telling your family you won't be hosting a holiday dinner this year. Start small, but honor even those tiny acts as powerful steps toward protecting your peace. And when the guilt creeps in, because it will, remember what Stacey Dori shared. Guilt is just the growing pain of self love. It means you're doing something right. I want to be clear about something. Setting boundaries isn't about building walls, it's about creating doorways that you control, deciding who and what gets access to your energy, your time, your heart. Sometimes the hardest boundaries to set are with the people we love most. The parent who expects you to drop everything when they call, the friend who consistently oversteps, the partner who doesn't respect your need for solitude. These boundaries feel impossible because they're entangled with our deepest fears. Will they still love me if I say no? Will they leave if I'm not constantly available? Will I still belong if I prioritize myself? The answer, as Jennifer Landis and Marination all discovered, is that the relationships worth keeping are the ones that survive your boundaries. The people who truly love you want you whole, not depleted. They want you thriving, not merely surviving. And those who resist your boundaries, they're revealing something important about how they view your worth. Today, I'm asking you to do something radical. I'm asking you to extend those 3 seconds into 30, into a minute, into however long it takes for you to check in with yourself before automatically saying yes. I'm asking you to practice saying this phrase in the mirror. Let me think about that and get back to you. Those 10 words can change your life. Your boundaries aren't just about saying no to others, they're about saying yes to yourself. Yes to rest when you're tired. Yes to space when you're overwhelmed. Yes to joy when the world expects your struggle. Yes to softness when hardness has been your armor. This is your birthright, not because you've earned it through decades of overextending yourself, not because you've proven your worth through endless achievement, not because you've suffered enough to deserve peace, but simply because you exist. Your worth is inherent. Your boundaries are your birthright. Your no is necessary. And when you finally embrace this truth, when you honor your limits with the same dedication you've shown to honoring everyone else's needs, you become a revolutionary. You become a model of what healthy love looks like. You become the permission slip others have been waiting for. So I challenge you today, claim your no, guard it fiercely, wield it with grace, and watch as it transforms not just your life, but the lives of everyone around you. Because in a world that profits from your exhaustion, rest isn't just radical, it's rebellion. And your no, it just might be the most powerful revolution of all.